Welcome to Pimpy's Investment Chat, where we keep investment talk simple. And here's your host, Pimpy.
What is going on out there, peeps? Yeah, don't panic. Yeah, that's what they're telling us. I knew come Monday morning, we would start to really get a much clearer picture on what's going on with the banks. About a half hour ago, I drove downtown to just go take care of some business. And the two banks that are there had long lines at the ATM. One guy was beating up the ATM machine with a hammer, talking about giving my card back. I couldn't resist. I had to come by because I wanted to see what was going on. I asked the people, what's he mad about? They said, well, they're only allowing us $300 a day to take out. I go, wow, they're already limiting you the amount of money? She's like, yes. He took his $300 out. I go, okay. He tried to use his card again, and the machine has not returned his card. And I was like, wow. So that's what happens if you try to be greedy and take more than $300 out, the machine keeps your card. And this guy was going to town on the ATM machine. A lady from in the bank was yelling at him. He was talking about giving my card back. I mean, it was terrible to see. Now, I've been warning people a while now about a bail-in. And we're starting to see some interesting things form. Bail-ins at some banks is the government taking over. And they have been taking over banks. They don't want them to fail. This reminds us of what happened 15 years ago under Obama when he did the bailouts. Now, they did pass a law saying that it's illegal for them to do bailouts, but created what was known as bail-ins. I don't know how Biden's going to save these banks. This economical crash that I've been expecting to happen is starting to take form, and our government is trying to do all they can to stop it, which tells me then that the dark hats are obviously not ready for whatever agenda they're pushing. They're not ready for it. But it doesn't stop the motion from happening. Let's get into this. Before we get started, do me a favor, hit that thumbs up button. If you're not a subscriber, please do so, because when you do, it helps out the channel, and I certainly do appreciate it. If you're thinking about buying gold and silver, check out our friends at Money Metals Exchange. The link is down below in the description. If you are a first-time buyer and you spend more than $200, you will get an additional ½ ounce of silver with your order. Just follow the link down below in the description. No promo codes are needed. You can find me on other social media platforms like Facebook. I do have my own group called Pimpy's Investment Chat. Over here we do talk about gold, silver, cryptocurrency, as well as foreign currency investments and any other investments you wish to talk about. Come on over here. It's free to join. Just follow the link down below in the description. I can be found on Twitter, MeWe, YouTube, Odyssey, and now Rumble. Yes, that's right. I finally got a Rumble. And in addition to that, you can find me over here at Pimpy's News Network. If I should ever get kicked off of YouTube, you can find me on any other one of these platforms. So come join me. It's free to do so. The links for all these locations are down below in the description. So come on over and join me. So I was feeling pretty good, but relapsed. And I mean relapse hard. I literally slept for almost 2 days now. That's why you haven't seen any new videos. Well, more like a day and a half. Anyways, I've been on some medicine trying to clear crap up. It's not so much that I feel feverish or anything. It's just this cough is just terrible, man. It's really hard to shake. And sometimes I have these coughs that, you have fits. Like you're coughing. I was like, man, I haven't had fits like that since I used to smoke out of a bong. It was terrible. Slobber knocking. Anyways, let's get into what's going on out there in the real world, shall we? All right, no surprise here to me whatsoever. Look at Bitcoin's at $24,225. Ethereum's at $1,676. We got XRP at 37 cents. Hex, as always, kicking butt at 8 cents. Cardano is at 34 cents. Polygon is at $1.18. Dogecoin's at 7 cents. Solana is at $20.46. Polkadot is at $6.11. Shiba is at 4011. And Litecoin's at $81.85. So what the hell is going on? Well, there's panic with the banks. I told you down where I'm at. I live in the boonies, just so you understand. But Bank of America, they had a long line of people at the ATM trying to use the ATM machines, bitching and moaning in front of the bank. The bank had posted some kind of notes. I tried to go see, but it was too crazy up there. I had a guy beating up an ATM machine with a hammer. I was like, whatever this isn't good. And this is just a small town responding to the bail-ins And although Bank of America wasn't doing bail-ins, they were limiting people to the money they could take out to only $300. A lot of business owners were there, so you got to take a look at the bigger picture. So although you're affecting business owners, they affect the employees that work there. But not just that, the people they might supply businesses to. So when this SVB thing, the government took over, and I told you that 90% of their accounts were business owners from Silicon Valley. They had over $250,000 in those accounts. So think about this. Let's pretend like you're ABC company and you got over $250,000 in this bank. And they confiscate your money. But let's say you're the sole supplier for another company that's out there. So you have the bank themselves. Their employees are going to be unemployed. Your company, you can't even get your money out. Sure, the Biden administration said they're trying to do something, but it's not going to happen right away. Okay, gotcha. But now let's say you need that money to continue producing the kind of product that you produce. But since you can't get access to your money, you can't produce that product. Now let's say XYZ company exclusively has a contract with you to supply them of that product. Do you see how this works? So the bank and their employees are screwed. ABC company is screwed along with all their employees, and they can't produce whatever product it is that they do. And now XYZ company can't buy the product because the company that makes their product has been screwed over by the banks. Do you see how this works? So their employees, and it rolls on like a domino effect. Look at 2008 when they kicked the can down the road. People should have known what to look for. Everything was overinflated. There were so many different bubbles. And instead of just dealing with the crap we had to deal with back then, now it's 100 times worse. They gave these companies free money, and they took advantage of it. He has 0 interest rates or like 0.5 interest rates. And people took that free money, and what did they do? Buy back their stock. They ate up all the profits. They didn't do anything about hiring people back or giving people good pays. Nope. But the execs got huge bonuses. And why should anybody be surprised? Come on, man. Our politicians are bed buddies with a lot of these guys. So that's where we are right now. Terra Classic is at 3013. Nice. Look at Saitama running like a big dog, almost up to 202, but they're at 2019. Looking good, Saitama. Now, why anybody should be surprised at this? Seriously. They were trying to drive gold and silver prices down. Once the doo-doo hit the fan at these banks, people took their money out and started running over to gold and silver. As I asked you guys and suggested to you guys to do this. Gold closed at $1,913.90 per ounce. Once that announcement was made about what's going on with these banks, look at this, whoosh. So where were they down to? They were down to $1,809. They're up almost $100 since March the 7th. It's the 13th, a week ago. I knew once these bank runs started happening, you're going to see people run to gold and silver as they should. You should have already been there if you listened to my channel. Silver is at $21.80. $21.80. It's up $1.28. When their prices were being driven down on March the 7th, they hit the bottom, and it was around $19.88. It's almost up $2, almost. It's at $21.70. It's actually $21.80 up there. 8 cents away from being up $2 in a short period of time. March the 10th, today's the 13th. Look at it jump. That's why I tell you guys, when you see gold and silver prices go down, don't panic. Why the hell are you panicking? Stop paying attention to the gold and silver prices. It does no good. It's fake. It's bullshit. It's paper. Start moving your money into gold and silver before you lose it all. It says, after 2 historic U.S. bank failures, here's what comes next. Yeah, we know what comes next. 2 large banks that cater to the tech industry have collapsed. Isn't it interesting that they cater specifically to the tech industry? And it says, the industry have collapsed after bank runs. Come on, man. Those of you who've been with me for a long time, didn't I warn you about this? Be honest. Go down in the comments and say, you know what? Pimpy told people that a bank run was coming. And now we're seeing it happen. I was trying to protect you. Government agencies are taking emergency measures to backstop the financial system. And Joe Biden is reassuring Americans that the money they have in the banks is safe. As a business owner, as a customer of the bank, you don't give a crap about what the president says. What you want is your money. You want access to your money. He can say all he wants to say, but it's still stressful to people whose money it is in the bank. He's telling it's nice and safe. Okay, if it's nice and safe, then give it to me. It's all eerie reminiscence of the financial meltdown that began with the bursting of the housing bubble 15 years ago. Yet the initial pace this time around seems even faster. So for those of you who got hit hard in 2008, and we're talking about people that were ready to retire, their nest eggs were there, they were happy, they're getting ready to retire, and then bam, all their IRAs, their 401ks hit. They lost like 40, 50% of the IRAs, and they had to rely on the rest of their money just to live until time had passed. By then, they were drained 100%. And I literally have people out there going, yeah, but Pimpy, they rebound. Not everybody's stuff rebounded. And even when they rebounded, there's people out there that lost their homes, lost their jobs. So they ended up having to live off of those IRAs and those 401ks. By the time they got a job, they were depleted. Some people didn't have enough. It's unfortunate. So even though those stocks rebounded, it was too late. The money was gone. They closed out their accounts. And they're saying this time it's even going to be faster. Over the last 3 days, the U.S. seized the two financial institutions after a bank run on Silicon Valley Bank, based in Santa Clara, California. It was the largest bank failure since Washington Mutual in 2008. So, once again, people, to protect yourself, to protect your retirement, to protect your savings, to help protect your family, I want to recommend to you that you take out 25, 30%, if not more, of your IRAs, your 401ks, or whatever savings you have left over, move it into gold or silver that you control. When you do, go to our friends over at Money Metals Exchange. You can go anywhere else. I'm just suggesting that you go there because they have the most competitive prices. And when the Biden administration took over and they were jumping up and down, celebrating about job numbers and stuff, I said the data is wrong. But even then, I was saying, you know what? Even if people are going back to work, you can't take credit for the jobs that Trump created. What I mean by that is we know that the RONA cost a lot of people their jobs. So when Biden got in office, it only made sense. It's common sense that once people got done dealing with the RONA and the economy started opening up, people were going to go back to work. They were counting the jobs that people were going back to as actual jobs that they created. And that's BS. Andrew Wang warns of mass layoffs, calls for government intervention after Silicon Valley Bank collapses. What kind of intervention are you going to have? Don't even talk about a bailout. 2008, you guys passed a law stating that you guys will no longer do bailouts. Eventually, people are going to have to deal with this crap. The fact that our politicians screwed up the economy so bad, so freaking bad, that a lot of people are going to suffer for generations to come. So what kind of bailout is this guy looking for? Andrew Wade, the entrepreneur who grabbed national attention during his 2020 White House run and his 2021 New York City mayoral run, urged government intervention following the Silicon Valley Bank collapse, warning of potential mass layoffs in the future and financial contagion. It's going to happen. They're already doing mass layoffs. They're just lying to you guys about the numbers. In the absence of some kind of action, you'll see thousands of mass layoffs and defunct companies and wipe out generations of startups. Yeah, hello. We've been talking about it on this channel now for quite some time. You could jump on your Twitter account all you want, talk about what needs to be done. Well, our politicians became multimillionaires and are sheltered against what's about to happen. Meanwhile, they screwed over the American people. They caused the problem and then they're going to try to approach us with the solution? Go F yourself, seriously. I don't want to be dealing with any politicians, none whatsoever. A tech CEO with $10 million stuck in Silicon Valley Bank says she has no idea what's going on. $10 million. But she shouldn't worry. Don't panic. I mean, at least $250,000 of your dollars are insured. You'll at least get that back. Isn't that comforting? Farmbox RX CEO Ashley Tanner told the New York Post she got locked out of her Silicon Valley Bank system. Now, Farmbox RX, isn't that the thing that Mark Cuban's part of? I might be wrong, but I think so. She'd been trying to make a wire transfer when its systems crashed and she couldn't get back in. Turner said it was the worst 18 hours of her life and that she has millions stuck in the bank. Okay, did you get it free? If it's just 18 hours, do you have access to it now? The CEO with the tech company with at least 10 million stuck in the failed Silicon Valley Bank says she has no idea what's going on and her banker wouldn't get back to anyone. Gee, you think? Farmbox RX Ashley Tanner told the New York Post Friday that all panic broke loose when she went to log into her when a company's SPV account to get a transaction approved. When the system crashed and locked her out. When I went to log in to approve the wire, the system was completely crashed. Do you see what's going on here? Do you see how it starts a domino effect? If you have more than $250,000 in your bank, you're going to lose it. I've been warning people to put their money into gold and silver. And now look what's going on. And it's happening everywhere. When I see our bank locally tell people they can't take out more than $300 a day. But this right here is a mind blower. CEO of failed Silicon Valley Bank, no longer the director of the SF Fed. This guy was a director on the San Francisco Federal Reserve. How is this possible? How could he be the chairman of a failed bank, but also sit as on the board of directors for the Federal Reserve? Don't you think there's a conflict of interest? Let that sink in for just a second. This is the kind of shenanigans that's going on. We have members of the Federal Reserve sitting as executive officers of other banks. The chief executive officer of failed Silicon Valley Bank, Greg Becker, is no longer on the board of directors at the Federal Reserve Bank of San Francisco. Never should have been on there in the first place. Second of all, what I want to know is how much money did he gain from being in that position? Because we know a lot of the execs sold hundreds of millions of their shares before the bank totally collapsed. No. If you're going to hurt your customers, I say screw you. By law, if you're going to be an exec on the boards, make bad decisions, I think they should be the last people to bail out before everybody else. You should allow them to bail out before you. Why should you get hundreds of millions of dollars while you screw over all the small people? Becker's department was effective on Friday. A spokesperson for the Federal Reserve said earlier on Friday, Silicon Valley Bank was closed by regulators. They knew ahead of time. That's why they sold all their stock and got hundreds of millions of dollars. That's like me owning a multi-billion-dollar company, and I have a ton of shares into it. But I convinced the public to invest in my company. All of a sudden, I noticed the crap is about to hit the fan, so I sell all my stock and then announced that the company went to shit, screwing over all the little people. This needs to change. Before any executive, before any president, before anybody can sell their stocks, they need to make the announcement to the little people so they can sell their stock, and then very last people to sell their stock should be the executive, and they'll be a lot more careful with your money. Each regional bank is overseen by boards comprised of private citizens. In addition to having 3 directors to represent banks, there are 6 other directors who present a mix of local businesses and community interests. That does not mean that they have access or are privy to the truth of what's going on. 3 of those directors are selected by the Federal Board of Governors in Washington, while the remainder are selected by local process. Think about what they're saying. Our government is involved with a bunch of different banks. There's members sitting on the board of directors. They steer those ships. And then they fail one after the other because of bad business decisions. And then the government wants to act like they're the heroes, come in and bail everybody out when they were the cause of all the problems. And then they're going to try to tell us, hey, trust us. Trust this new central bank digital currency. Anyways, you guys, let me know what you think. I look forward to your comments. I will catch you later. I'm out.